You are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
¿Cómo están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. It is Sunday morning, week 10 of the NFL, and we got a whole lot of betting to do. I have worked my way back from a very substandard start to the season all the way back to an even 69-69. Giggity. Evo is still working his way back to get up a little higher on these picks. But my man, we got games already started. I'm ready to go. I'm jacked through the roof today for week 10 of the NFL. Not a great start on Thursday night, but we're going to get some picks going today that hopefully make the people and ourselves a little bit of money. My man, Evo, welcome in. How was the week? It's been a couple days since we talked. Any exciting matchups you're really looking forward to today?
Yeah, I think we have an actually pretty darn good slate of morning games. In general, I was looking at some betting stats for the year again. The sharps, the paid subscription bettors and stuff like that, they're even down this year as well. Obviously, we don't expect any sort of a paid subscription for you to come watch our content and go with us. We're not at that level yet at all. But looking at some of the sharps that are normally hitting, by the end of the year around like the mid to high 60% are down in the high 50 percentile range right now as far as their picks in the NFL. So still in the positive, but I think that adds a little context to this year has just been kind of weird as far as the betting lines. I think FanDuel maybe or DraftKings. DraftKings reported a loss this last quarter and stuff. So you're seeing some weird stuff in the betting spectrum. And we're obviously encountering that as well. We changed up our betting this year. So we're adjusting to that as well, but we're working our way back. Obviously your 69 favorite number, favorite position. And I'm getting my way there slowly but surely. And we do have games going on right now. Giants and Panthers being played out in Munich, Germany. I don't know if you've watched any of that game so far, but
I have. Bryce has actually looked a little bit better. I've kind of been excited, but hey, man, this guy actually this kid could at least be a solid career backup.
Yeah, it's been interesting. The Panthers have not looked absolutely terrible on offense. The
Yeah.
Giants, however, especially Daniel Jones, has looked like classic old school worst case Daniel Jones. Like he's missing throws. I don't know
Yeah.
if you saw the little flea flicker attempt, had a wide open
It
Wandale
didn't throw it.
Robinson,
Why doesn't he
and
throw it on the deep over? It's wide open.
double pumps doesn't take that shot down the field. And that's been his problem. He's not willing to take shots down the field, and it's kind of been making that offense anemic. But we'll continue to kind of pay attention to that game. Looks like they're at halftime right now, with the Panthers up 10 to the Giants 0. We also got 4 teams on bye this week. Your Browns, the Green Bay Packers, the Raiders, and the Seahawks all on bye this week. But with that, we do have a good slate of games, several good morning games that we're going to be looking at, and obviously some decent afternoon games. It's a weekend of football. It's all good when it comes down to that. So excited to get into that. Excited to be able to take a little bit of breather from the political spectrum, if you will. We have another show underneath the No Sleeves Network that you and I were part of, The Talk, with several other hosts on that show. We have some kind of rotating people through, members of the No Sleeves Network who pop on there, but we had ourselves a little show after election night.
Yes, we did.
An interesting one, a longer one, probably our longest talk, I would say. So if you're into some other content other than just football, hearing from some dummy thick veterans, also shout out Veterans Day tomorrow.
I was about to.
Looking forward to not having to go to work for that. But if you're looking for some of that content, go to the Talk YouTube page. And if you can't find that, you should be able to get there by checking out this QR code. You can get to the No Sleeves Network, our website, check out all of our content there, and head over to that Talk Facebook page, and you can check out our videos there.
Boom. So yeah, you brought up Veterans Day, man. So obviously Veterans Day tomorrow. Also, my beautiful wife, our producer Amber's birthday is tomorrow. So happy birthday to her. Shout out to all of our fellow veterans. We appreciate you guys, and to everybody else who tunes in, watches. Vicariously, you are supporting the veterans. What we try to do here on this show, the Lineman Lounge, is to have a really good time. We're not necessarily going to get always into the nitty gritty. We like to chop it up, have some fun, a little more Pat McAfee style, informative, comedic on this show. The talk is a little bit of a different thing. Definitely more comedic, not necessarily informative, but it's a good time. And everything that we do at the No Sleeves Network is try to be a bridge between civilian and military life. There are so many things that we share and have in common, and we hope to be a bridge where, we can grow veteran voices and still be able to mix with everybody else and have those really fun conversations. So everybody who is here now tuning in, thank you very much. Everybody who tunes in later, watches later, thank you very much. And Evo, you brought up the people paying for subscriptions. You'll never, as the owners, I'm going to say we're not ever going to make people subscribe to this. Not in a monetary value, but if you guys wouldn't mind, you can head over to our YouTube, like, share, and subscribe to that. It will cost you nothing. We're not going to ask you to pay for us. Okay. But you can show us those dollars by to the YouTube, subscribing there. That's how you can help us. We don't want to take money from you. We'll take it from the people that are shelling out all sorts in ad money. So with that, are you ready to hop into some fucking football? Because don't worry, you won't see any advertising there either.
Yeah, I am about ready to jump into football. I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up. And I kind of talked to you about this morning.
Yeah.
Good friend of ours is not doing well right now. Buddy that I worked with very closely in my section had a heart attack in the past 24 hours, which is weird because I'm 35. Mike, you're what, 36?
36, yeah.
And our buddy Joey, who we worked with, did a lot of stuff outside of work with, and I golfed with a bunch. Very close. It was, like I said, close-knit section. Me, Roberto Gussolini, and Joey. Joey's just a little bit older than us, but I kind of had an out-of-the-blue heart attack in the past 24 hours. So not doing well. I believe he's medically sedated right now, possibly coma. 90 minutes of CPR, and they're not sure what's going to come out on the other side of it. So I'm not a religious person. I'll put that out there. But any sort of positive karma that we can push towards him and his family, his wife, I would really appreciate that. Because he's obviously not doing well. Like I said, not sure. And, 90 minutes of CPR, not getting oxygen. It's a rough situation. So keep him in your thoughts, prayers, however you want to do that.
Yeah, Joey's good people, man. I also worked with him out there. You worked with him a lot closer than I did. Joey's great, man. Kind of helped me along as I was just getting started out there. So any thoughts, prayers, well wishes sent that way are always going to be appreciated. With that, you ready to get into the show, man?
Yeah, now I think we're ready to do it. All righty, let's get into our morning slates of games. So we already talked about, again, teams on bye. We got the Browns, Packers, Raiders, Seahawks on bye. Have this morning slate and a couple of really damn good ones. First one that we're going to go over today is the Chiefs, your undefeated Chiefs, not your undefeated Chiefs, but the only undefeated team
the
in the NFL
undefeated
being the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Not
Broncos at the Chiefs
at all.
No, man. This game, so Broncos at the Chiefs and Chiefs at the Broncos. Those always take on two very different styles of games. But we're talking about a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix going into Kansas City against one of, if not the best defense in all of football in the Kansas City Chiefs. 7.5 is a lot of points, man. The Chiefs are notorious for not covering. This year, they've been better about covering, but 7.5 points for the Chiefs is typically a lot because this Broncos team has also a very, very good defense. I think this matchup really comes down to Bo Nix versus that Kansas City defense. Where are you at on this before I make my pick? I already know which way I'm going. My bets are all in. Where are you going?
Yeah, pretty wild that it's 7.5 points because this is just two really good defenses. Now, we saw the Kansas City Chiefs do a lot better on offense last week, but still 7.5, that they've not been good at covering spreads like you talked about, a little bit better this year. But Patrick Mahomes 9-17 against the spread when he's more than a touchdown favorite. So that kind of starts to lean back into that spread talk a little bit more. Broncos, one of the better defenses in the league. Kansas City Chiefs, one of the better defenses in the league. The difference is coming down to that quarterback position. Now, we've seen better play from Bo Nix the past several weeks. Like, he's actually looked a little bit more like a competent quarterback. He's playing within Sean Payton's system, exactly what he wants. And Sean Payton is streaming plays up for him that are going to work.
Not last week, but
yeah. And look, I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs dropping one here. And we've looked at their schedule going forward. They don't have a lot of games that are going to be like, this is an obvious, like, this could be a close game or whatever. So with that in mind, I'm going to be taking the Broncos here. I'm going to give them the 7.5 points. You can give them the points for -114 odds, -106 odds to take those points away from the Chiefs. Look, I'm not a huge fan of this Denver Broncos team. Obviously, I think their defense is very solid. This is a rivalry game here going on. And Bo Nix, again, has put up decent numbers. I think they're going to be playing from behind. He's going to be having to pass more. Hopefully, he can get above that kind of 200-yard passing threshold. Now have another 60-something yard game in total. But I'm going to take the Broncos plus the points here. It's a large spread. Kansas City Chiefs don't seem to blow anybody out. And that's why I think it could be closer. I fully expect the Chiefs to win this one, but hopefully the Broncos can keep it relatively close.
All right. I'm going the opposite way, man. I really think the deciding factor, that crowd noise there in Arrowhead with a rookie quarterback, a really good defense. The Chiefs might score on defense today. I think the fact that the Broncos, I really don't expect to be able to move the ball at all. I think that winning by 10 here feels like it's very real just because I don't think the Chiefs are going to actually have to score that much. They could get 20 points and win this thing by 10. If Bo Nix is having a bad Bo Nix game, which is very possible on the road in Kansas City for the first time in your career. And, it's Bo Nix. So, I got to go Chiefs minus 7.5.
All righty. Don't blame me there at all. Next game that we're going to be going over here for this morning slate of games, Pittsburgh Steelers going to Washington versus Jaden Daniels, obviously getting a huge lead there for offensive rookie of the year, looking like the real deal. Pittsburgh also looking very good. They're coming off of a bye. Mike Tomlin is fan-fucking-tastic coming off of a bye. Also has one of the great defenses in the league right now. And with Russ Wilson out there starting, you're seeing a little bit more come out from that passing offense. Right now, Steelers, you can get or give them 2.5 points for minus 110 odds. And that Commanders team, you can drop the 2.5 for 110 odds as well. Where are you going in this one, Mike?
For me, man, this was pretty simple. Steelers off a bye, getting points. I love Jaden Daniels. I really like this Commanders team, but this is Mike Tomlin. This is the Steelers. They've been doing this. I hate the Steelers as a Browns fan, but there is no fucking way I could pick against Mike Tomlin in this scenario. Rookie quarterback. Come on. Steelers plus 2.5.
And I'm leaning the same direction here. I do think that the Commanders will win this game. I think that they should probably win it handily, but just based off of the previous stats with how good Tomlin is coming off of a bye, with how good the defense is, they're going to be able to get some pressure on Jaden. Look, I again love what the Commanders have been doing. I think that they're a playoff team. But this Steelers team off of a bye does some damn good things. We're going to give the points, the 2.5 to the Steelers in this one.
All right.
All righty. Going back through the rest of our morning slate of games, we got the New England Patriots going up against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Chicago is favored in this one at minus 6.5 points, minus 105 odds, or you can give the points to the Patriots, minus 115 odds. A showdown of rookie quarterbacks here. Drake May going to be going out there versus the Chicago offense. And I like what I've seen from Drake May recently.
Yeah, it's been good.
Hasn't been as good of a passer as he has been of a runner, but you see some of those flashes, some of those good things from him. The thing is that the Patriots defense is just really god awful. I mean, the whole team in general is pretty damn bad. You talked about this in our last show. Ramondre Stevenson is just not having the year that you would expect from him. He's kind of maneuvered back to more of that middling style quarterback. So Mike, where are you going at in this game?
I'm going with Matt Eberflus gets fired after this week. Because I think that the Bears are going to lose this game fucking outright. Their offense has been so bad that this bad Patriots defense, I'm not all that worried about it. They have not been consistent hardly at all recently. Eberflus is definitely on the hot seat. If they start dropping games like this, when they have a potential to compete for a wild card spot while you have your rookie quarterback in place, he could get fucking fired. They already don't like him. The fan base hates him. I'm feeling Patriots on an upset, so I'm taking the Patriots plus 6.5 points.
And I'm the same spot, man. I'm going with the Pats plus the points in this one. I think that this game is going to be much closer. Yes, Bears have a very good defense, but that offense is just kind of wonky. And I do think that the coaching, look, we've been very critical of the Bears coaching the whole time. Like, it's tough to be critical of Gerard Mayo's coaching there in New England because the team is just so bad. But they've been competitive in a bunch of these games still. And you're seeing some other players do a little bit better than you might expect at this point. Like, I like giving them that amount of points. I think this is going to be a lot closer. Also, update on our game over in Munich. Tyrone Tracy just had himself a 32-yard rush. Tyrone Tracy, my boy, for a touchdown. We are looking at a 7-10 game now in the third quarter, keeping you up to date on that game. If you don't have access to the video and can't be watching that as we go along. All right, next up, good one here. Buffalo Bills at the Indianapolis Colts. Colts giving them 4.5 points, home dogs, minus 110 odds, or you can drop 4.5 for the Bills. The line on this game continues to kind of move. The delta increases. I believe last night it might have even been -4 for the Bills. I know earlier in the week, -3.5 for the Bills. Joe Flacco, again, still starting out there for Indianapolis. Buffalo, Keon Coleman out in this game. There's some of the big inactives in this one. Where are you going in this one, Mike?
I got to ride with Josh Allen, man. He's the best quarterback in the league right now. He's playing the best quarterback in the league, probably. He's thrown 1, maybe 2 picks now at this point in the season.
I think last week might have been his first one.
Okay, yeah, it was either 1 or 2, but he is really damn good. We know that the Colts are going to have the ability to put up points and do all sorts of crazy things, but Joe Flacco is also very high variability. That Bills defense has been pretty decent at times this year. They can get Joe a few times. I think they probably turned Joe over once for sure today. I think they're probably a touchdown better. 4.5 feels right. Like this spread has been growing. I think 6 points is probably right around that mark where I'd be concerned. So 4.5, I got no problem dropping. So Bills minus 4.5 for me.
And I just double checked my notes here around midnight last night when I was finalizing my picks for the day. I did have the Bills at minus 3.5 points in this one. So the line has moved a full point in the last 9 hours or so. Yeah. So kind of wild movement there. Another thing to keep note of here, the Bills, they haven't beaten the Colts in Indianapolis since 1998. Doug Flutie was the quarterback for that game.
Fuck about that.
They've lost 6 straight in Indianapolis. Which, look, you got to pay attention to some of the trends. I know some players really enjoy the historicals there. We are talking about different teams, new teams here. And the Colts, though, Vikings played them last week, so I was kind of more fluent in their stats. They had lost by a combined total of 14 points in their 4 losses this year, which is a pretty fucking good point differential for them. Now, we saw what can happen when you have a high-pressure defense and some unique looks going up against that offense. You know, Joe Flacco not throwing a single pass in the red zone. I don't expect that to be the case this week. I expect them to get a little bit more online what they're doing. But Joe Flacco is kind of like a light version of Jameis Winston. You're going to get the good and the bad. You're going to get a lot of gunslinging out of him. That's going to provide some opportunity for the Bills to get turnovers. I, too, am going to be dropping the points here for the Bills. At the minus 3.5, I felt pretty damn good about it. I don't like that the line is moving the opposite direction.
People are buying it up, man.
Yeah. But I can't get behind the Colts being within a field goal, which is why the 3.5 felt good. I do think that the Bills are going to win by at least a touchdown here. So dropping the points for the Bills.
All right, there we go.
All righty.
It's going to be a fun game. The fact that they haven't won, like, sure, I said in jest, I don't give a fuck about the 1998 thing. That's a long time to not have a win in a place.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, next stadium,
even.
Next up, we have my Minnesota Vikings going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. This line also has had a lot of movement this week. Currently, Vikings are favored as road favorites, minus 7 points at minus 105 odds. Jaguars, you can give them the 7 points for minus 115 odds. The big news here, Trevor Lawrence not playing. All week they've been saying that he's leaning towards not playing, that he's going to be questionable, hasn't been practicing. Mac Jones has been getting all those starter reps. Yes, that's the old Patriots quarterback, Mac Jones, who is the backup down there now. Mm-hmm. And this is a Jags team that has obviously had a pretty terrible season. Doug Peterson firmly in the hot seat. You don't know who the lead running back's going to be. Probably not Etienne because Bigsby's been doing good things down there. It's also one of the worst man coverage defenses that primarily runs man coverage in the secondary down there in Jacksonville. And you have basically the number 1 wide receiver against man coverage in Justin Jefferson going up against them today. TJ Hawkinson having his second week out there, being back coming off of injury. And a Vikings defense that is known for showing those unique looks, getting in quarterbacks' heads. Jags just traded Cam Robinson over to the Vikings. So the Vikings are going to have a little bit of their game script possibly figured out, possibly some of the calls and whatnot that Jags team could be making. I'm sure Brian Flores was picking Robinson's brain the whole week about this. Like, I don't like anything about this matchup for the Jaguars, to be completely honest. 7 points, like Vikings have blown people out and then let the lead kind of diminish towards the end because they don't need to be doing anything too fucking crazy. again, though, this line moving last night, it was minus 6.5 points for the Vikings. Now it's -7. The bettors are coming out and making those bets. I still have to drop the points here for my Vikings. The Jags have played things very close, which makes me question this a little bit more. Because as bad as they've been, the Jags have kept a lot of their games recently pretty
I
close.
mean, but that's with
But
their starting quarterback.
it's Mac Jones going out there. Now, Mac
Yeah.
Jones, best game of against the Minnesota Vikings 2 years ago. So
Best game of his
maybe he
career.
has a little bit of something. I don't think it's going to really matter. So I'm taking my Vikings dropping the points in this one. I think that this should be a big game for that Vikings offense.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. They're on the Mac Jones, and this team's already bad. You guys can score at will. Justin Jefferson's really fucking good. Your guys' running game is good. Now, I understand that you are having a replacement in at left tackle, but it's not a bad replacement. I mean, you're playing the team that lost him. So, like, you know that they're going to be weak. You guys have a good pass rush. You should murder these guys. At -7, at worst, I should expect a push. At worst, I should expect that. If you guys show up and play the type of football you've been playing all year. Unless you got, I cannot see KOC having a week where you guys just don't practice and don't show up and completely underestimate an opponent where you got to be fighting against this Jags team who's on to their backup quarterback. A 2-7 fucking Jags team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one thing is like in every game that the Vikings have played this year. Obviously, we lost 2 in a row in a 5-day span, but those were against, a Detroit Lions team where we barely lost, and it was an extremely competitive game. And then going in Thursday night versus a Rams team that all of a sudden got a whole bunch of guys back, and that one was still close and aided by the refs. We've been competitive in every single game. I don't think that we are looking at any opponent and thinking like this is a slouch. They're preparing for every opponent. I love the mindset of the team. So, yeah, I don't think that they're going to look at the Jags and be like, okay, we can kind of take a breather. And we can also take a breather because we got the Titans next week. I don't think that's going to
especially your division. There's no breathers because every game and every fucking week is going to matter in your division.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Vikings -7 for sure.
All right. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons going into New Orleans, going up against the Saints. Saints, home dogs as well. Plus 3.5 points to them for -106 odds, or you can drop the points for the Falcons at -114 odds. Saints are in a spiral. I feel like I say this every single week, but I mean, it's worth bringing up just because those first 2 games for the Saints were extremely good. But now you're going out there. I don't even know who the fuck is coaching this team anymore because Dennis Allen has been fired. And I know some changes on the defensive staff have been made. Marshawn Lattimore just got traded away, arguably one of your best defensive players. And the Falcons are kind of rolling. They're averaging like 7 to 10 yards per offensive play right now. They haven't gone up against a whole lot of resistance. Now, a lot of times you see a head coach change, you'll see a little bit of boost to the team. But that tends to happen when it's like, oh, the players hate the coach and they want a new guy in. I don't know that the players necessarily hated Dennis Allen. They just were a terrible team.
That only happens when you have a talented roster that's underperforming. That's not what's happening down in New Orleans.
Yeah, and look, they have a talented roster.
They have big name guys in certain spots, but they do not have a talented top to bottom roster. Their salary cap the constraints have ruined any chance of having any sort of depth along that team over the last few years. So they're not going to get this uptick because that happens when you have good teams that are underperforming. This is not a good team. They have big names like Alvin Kamara's, the Olaves, the fucking Lattimores.
But Olave's now in IR.
Traded IR, and then a running back who can't do it all by himself, who's never gone over 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Like, what?
We're going the same place here, I think. We're dropping the points for the Falcons, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
3.5 is kind of it's not even close to the right number either. If the Falcons are at home, this is 6.5 points. They're getting a bunch of points because the Falcons notoriously don't necessarily play very well down in New Orleans. But this is Kirk Cousins. This is a different team.
Yeah, it's a divisional matchup. That could be kind of why the point spread is a little bit closer. But even so, like the Falcons are rolling right now. They're looking really good, especially on offense. So yeah, Falcons minus the 3.5.
Yeah. That one was super easy.
Yeah. All right. And I hate when you say that because those are the ones
Yeah,
where it's going to be a
we
fucking
always
nail
fucking-
biter or something like that.
Probably.
Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers, home dogs. You can give the Bucks 6.5 points at minus 110 odds, or you can drop the 6.5 for San Francisco going down to Tampa Bay. Bucks looked good last week, despite having all those injuries going up against that Chiefs team. Took it to overtime. You know, this is a team that's not laying down for sure. Baker's looking good, but we talked about this. The Bucks have been, despite playing good football, they keep taking the L. They've lost a lot of games here recently. 49ers getting Christian McCaffrey back. I believe he's expected to play in this game. Debo is going to be playing. Like this San Francisco team, roster-wise, is a lot closer right now to where we expected them to be at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Where we both thought that they were going to be an extremely good team. 6.5 points is quite a big spread here for that 49ers team. It looks like Vegas is trying to get you to think as well that they are that team from week one going up against this Bucks team that is heavily injured. Where are you going in this one, Mike?
So I understand the 49ers team is coming back. They're getting healthier, but it's going to take a little bit to get everybody reacclimated, get the thing going. And the Bucks, for all the things that they're not, what they have been is competitive every fucking week, pretty much. They're 5-4 on the year against the spread. Covered last week against the Chiefs team with basically the same injuries. Mike Evans looks like he might be coming back. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. He's on my fantasy team, but I don't. Oh, here we go. That's Xavier Leggett. By the way,
he's eyeing week 12.
12. Okay, so not yet. All right. So they're still hurt. The same team that they ruled out last week. They can be competitive. I think that Baker can still keep this thing close. Travel from fucking San Fran down to Tampa is long travel. I'm going to say that buys me a point and keeps this thing within a touchdown. So I'll take the Bucks plus 6.5.
That's the other the Bucks did play that really good Chiefs team very well, took it down to the end. Didn't even get a chance to be on offense in overtime because of the way the overtime rules work. There is something to be said at a hangover after a very tough game like that. They played, well, it was Sunday night or Monday night football. It was Monday night football.
Monday night, yeah.
Yeah, so shorter week after a really tough game. That's something to take note of there with that Bucks team. And they're going up against a non-slouch team here in the 49ers. I think people are expecting there to be a big boost with Christian McCaffrey back, and there might be, but at the end of the day, like the running game for that 49ers team has been good regardless. Garendo, Mason, doesn't matter who's going out there. They're putting up a good run game pretty much consistently week in and week out. So McCaffrey helps. It doesn't provide a ginormous boost necessarily, not a 6.5 point boost. I'm going to give the points to the Bucks here as well. I think that they should be able to hopefully keep it relatively close. But I think 49ers will probably ultimately win, and that Tampa Bay team continues kind of on this skid going in the opposite direction than we want to see them.
All right. And that will wrap it up for our morning slate of games, I believe.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me go ahead and pop up the screen for you guys. Let me show you what we got working with for your morning slate. All right, so Evo and I, we both took the Ravens. That missed. I took Panthers plus 6.5. That looks pretty fucking good right now. Giants minus 6.5. Any update there? Still 10-7 there, Evo?
Nope. 17-7.
All right.
For Panthers.
All right, so
Chuba Hubbard had another rushing touchdown.
All right, so the 1 o'clock games, I went Chiefs minus 7.5. You went Broncos plus 7.5. We're both on the Steelers plus 2.5. We're both on Patriots plus 6.5. Both on the Bills minus 4.5. Both on the Vikings minus 7. Both on the Falcons minus 3.5, I should say, and both on the Bucks plus 6.5. This might be the most that we have agreed on basically any portion of a week.
Yep. Yeah, it's been pretty much the same for us here. I don't know how I feel about this. You know what? Give me 49ers minus 6.5.
There we go.
We can't have it. 49ers minus 6.5 points.
All right. Well, you trying to catch up here?
We got to have some parity. We're both not going to pick 100%.
That's true.
It's not going to happen. So we're betting the odds on the odds here. We'll see what happens. One of us is going to do better than the other. All right, going to our afternoon slate of games, we have the Tennessee Titans going up against the Chargers. Chargers are favored at home minus 7.5 points, minus 115 odds. You can give those points to the Titans at minus 105 odds. The return of Will Levis in this one.
Woo!
Do you think that's going to provide the boost that the Chargers need to take the L?
Yeah, I think
the Chargers are going to continue looking good.
I believe that's going to provide the boost to get the Chargers over the 7.5 that they're going to need to cover, because Will Levis is going to do something stupid and turn it into points for the Chargers. I don't trust this Titans team at all. There is a very strong competition right now going for worst teams in the NFL, and the Titans are like firmly entrenched in that conversation. Their quarterback play has been bad. Mason Rudolph gave them some yards, but shitloads of turnovers as well. They're grasping at straws. That's why they're turning back to Will Levis. The Chargers team is good. They beat the shit out of my Browns, even though, we didn't play well at all. Played like fucking dog shit. So, yeah, I'm going Chargers and I'm dropping the points, man. I do not trust this Titans team at all. Will Levis, I'm excited to see unhinged Jay Cutler sling it all over the yard to fans and guys in the other color alike, because that's where it's going today.
Yeah, look, I really like this Chargers team. I like what they're doing. I like the run game and everything. I'm going to take the Titans plus the 7.5 points. I feel like best scoring defense for the Chargers there. Titans, a lot of their woes have been turnovers. You're putting in a guy who is known to be good at giving up the ball in Will Levis, but he sat for several weeks, hopefully a little bit of time off, gets his head cleared, had a bunch of mayo coffee. I don't like 7.5 in a game that I expect to be lower scoring. Over under in this game, 39.5. I do think that it could hit the under in this one, despite the fact that, again, the Chargers have looked a lot more competent on offense than we kind of expected. We expected to just be run heavy. You're seeing a lot more out of Justin Herbert. But I'm going to take the Titans plus the points in this one. I think that it could be a lower scoring game. While I do think that the Chargers are going to handily win this game, I don't know if it's going to be by much more than a touchdown here, just because I think it could be a lower scoring game.
So that makes sense to me. Like when you were going, I was like, man, you're telling me all the reasons I should take the Chargers. Then you're like, but it's going to be a low scoring game. So that's why I can't give up that many points. It's like, oh, okay. Now I understand. That's a play I understand.
Yeah. Look, because I don't like this Titans team either. But I feel like we have to have some picks here that don't exactly make sense. And that's definitely my doesn't make sense pick of the week right there. Picking the Titans. All right. Next up, we're going to jump to probably one of the more interesting games of the afternoon, just because of the fan bases, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we got a big quarterback change. Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. Cowboys getting 7.5 points as a home dog at minus 122 odds, or you can take the Eagles and drop the 7.5 points at plus 100 odds in this one. Cowboys, obviously, new quarterback out there, Cooper Rush, starting for him. And they've got a new talented wide receiver to go along, CeeDee Lamb, for the Cowboys. I know where I'm going to this one, Mike, but what do you feel about this game?
Well, I'm going to laugh when there's an uptick in the offense because they don't have a book on Cooper Rush. It's going to give some crazy storylines over the next week that I'm absolutely here for, about they shouldn't have paid Dak. It's a fugazi because Cooper Rush is not going to be the starter going forward long term, but I'm excited for it to happen. I think there will be an uptick in the offense, but ultimately there's going to be a lot of mistakes made by this Cowboys team, especially on offense. The Eagles are really good. They're really good at running the ball. They know how to use Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley is a fucking dog. I'm fully in on this Eagles team. They're kind of starting to figure it out. 7.5 is a lot of points, but I like to gamble. So even odds at -7.5, I'll do that. I'll take that gamble. I'm going Eagles -7.5.
All right. I'm going to give the points to the Cowboys. 7.5 points here. Look, not a fan of the Cowboys team, not a fan of the Cowboys coaching staff, not a fan of a whole lot on the Cowboys. But Cooper Rush, in the past, when he has stepped in, has done good things for this Cowboys offense. Yes, more talented offense, more talented pieces around a much better offensive line, much better running game. But I think Cooper Rush, just being that the Eagles don't have a whole lot of a script on him because Nick Sirianni is such a dog shit coach. And because of the ginormous uptick of the trade for Jonathan Mingo, I think that this game could be a little bit closer. Look, divisional game, rivalry game. I could absolutely see the Eagles completely blowing the Cowboys out in this one. But I'm going to go with they're going to keep it a little bit closer. Cowboys plus the 7.5 points.
Okay.
Vegas is begging me to take this one right here. Plus 100 points to drop for the Eagles. They're begging us to take the Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, definitely follow what Vegas wants you to do. That will work out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next up, Jets at Cardinals. Cardinals in this one, home dogs, plus 1.5 points for -105 odds, or you can drop the 1.5 for the Jets at -115 odds. This one was kind of interesting. I kind of thought it was going to be flip-flopped. I thought the Cardinals would be favored by 1.5 here. I don't think that people should be jumping on the Jets train after they're able to get, a win.
One win.
They're still dysfunctional there. Things still aren't going great. And the Cardinals are just kind of that weird, scrappy team. It's oscillations hardcore. One really good week, one really bad week. One really good week, one really bad week. Look, Black Ops 6 announced a whole bunch of stuff for season 1 coming out here pretty soon, but really no major updates. Yes, we've had some
double XP weekend. Are we on a double XP weekend?
No, that was last week, I believe. So
I lost you.
You lost me.
I can hear you, but I lost you. Okay, hang on. Do your thing. Keep talking.
Well, that was last week, so we don't really have to worry about that. So I'm really hoping for a good game from Kyler Murray and Jonathan Connor in this one. Like, they've been looking pretty fucking solid. I'm taking the Cardinals plus the points here because I feel like these teams are way more evenly matched than you would expect. I don't think either one of them is a standout, but we're talking Cardinals at home, and two guys I got on my fantasy team, so I got to really hope and root for those guys. We're going to go Cardinals plus the 1.5. Again, I thought that the Cardinals should have been favored slightly in this one.
And I'm right there with you, man. I was expecting to pick the Cardinals and drop some points because this Jets team won one game. They're fucking 3-6. This team is not some super, super great team. I don't get it. Aaron Rodgers is not fantastic. So I will take the home dog. I'll take the plus points. Kyler has played pretty decent. I got a lot of, I went all quarterbacks for my Lineman Lounge parlay today. And Kyler is one of them. So yeah, give me Cardinals plus 1.5. And I watched Transcendence last night. So I'm also going with John Connor. You said,
James, did I say John Connor?
You said John Connor.
Isn't John Connor from Terminator?
Yeah, same fucking thing. AI. It's all going to take over and it's going to kill us all.
Hopefully quick.
I, for one, welcome our computer overlords.
For sure. All right. So now we got our Sunday night game. Real interesting matchup here. Detroit Lions, who have just absolutely been steamrolling everybody, except for my Vikings. They won, but they didn't steamroll them. But look, the Lions have looked really, really fucking good. Obviously, I think there's not really much of a doubt. They're probably the best team in football right now. They're playing good in every phase of football: offense, defense, special teams, doesn't seem to matter. They're doing damn good things, and it's really predicated on that rough and tumble rush offense and the Dan Campbell mentality. They're going into Houston, where Houston is the home dog. You can get Houston plus 3.5 points at minus 118 odds, or you can drop 3.5 for Detroit at minus 104 odds. Now, Houston, especially playing at home, has surprisingly, it was a surprise to me, has had one of the better pass defenses while playing at home. And the Detroit Lions have a very good pass game, but the question is, are they going to have to rely on it at all? You got Jared Goff going into a dome, so that ups his ability as a passer. But
Yeah,
we're talking about a run game that has really been tough to stop with this Detroit Lions team. They're controlling game scripts. We keep saying running is back in the NFL this year. They are controlling game scripts with their dual threat running back system there with Detroit. I mean, the Texans have a good run game too there and mixing, but they have kind of all year underperformed from what we expect. Yes, they are leading their division, but they haven't really run away with anything. We're talking about a team 2 years ago that was 2-15 or whatever, and then had a really good season last year. Everyone expected them to be the darlings of the AFC this year, myself included. Like, I was a big fan of this Texans team, and I still am a fan of this Texans team, but they're going into the meat grinder right now versus the Detroit Lions, they've looked fucking fantastic.
so good.
I struggle to find a way to not drop the points here for Detroit.
I'm not going to sway you over here. Listen, I like this Texans team. I like CJ Stroud, but CJ Stroud has taken a step back. Will it improve? For sure, because I expect Nico Collins to play this week. But the Lions team, they're the best team in football. And right now, I'm not sure it's all that close. Jared Goff in a dome, dog. Sure, the Texans, they have a talented young defense for sure. And I'm sure the home field advantage is nice. But the Lions offense is so fucking efficient. Jared Goff can throw it 8 times and get 3 touchdowns, and then they'll run for 260 and control the clock, and then just play good enough defense. They can beat you any fucking way they want. I love this Texans team. I love CJ Stroud, and I love Nico Collins. But the Lions are a fucking buzzsaw right now. I'm dropping the points. Lions minus 3.5.
Yeah. And I've got to be going the same direction in this one. I would love to see this be a much closer game, have a good Sunday night football game tonight. But I think Detroit is at least a touchdown better right now, just because they're about a touchdown better than almost every team in the NFL.
They're only 3.5 points better than the Chiefs.
Maybe.
If
and that's if they're playing in Arrowhead, right?
Yeah.
Like if they're playing in Arrowhead. So, yeah, I got to drop the points here for the Lions. Yep. Would I like to see a big upset here? Texans get a win at home. That'd be great for my NFC North competition. That'd be pretty fucking cool. But I don't know if it's going to happen tonight, man. All right, and that takes us to our Monday night game. Miami Dolphins going out to LA versus the Rams. Rams are favored right now, minus 1.5 points at minus 115 odds, or you can give those points to the Dolphins at minus 105 odds. Tua is back. The offense is still not looking great. It's looking a hell of a lot better, though, than when he was hurt. But the Rams got their full complement of receivers, man. They got Puka. Hopefully Puka doesn't get thrown out for a feigned punch or whatever. I still think it was bullshit. Yeah. Cooper Kupp, obviously out there doing good things, looking like old Cooper Kupp. And you have Kyron Williams, who didn't score a touchdown last week for the first time in fucking God knows how long. That Rams offense is pretty damn good. Their defense is fucking terrible, though. That's going to give the opportunity for the Dolphins to actually show up and show what they can do on offense with all of those options. You brought it up, though, last week or in our last show. Jalen Waddle, where has he been all year?
Where the fuck is he?
Do you think he can pop this game?
I mean, yeah, he could go off any game. He has all the physical traits. If that offense gets going, he should go off. but it hasn't happened. So I don't understand what's going on with Jalen Waddle in this offense, other than the fact that maybe he needed an additional game to get reacclimated with Tua after so much missed time. I am not super high right now on this Dolphins team in general, though. I think the injury to Tua obviously derailed a good portion of the season. There's almost no chance they're making the playoffs now. And with that, you have to wonder if they don't show drastic improvement, how much longer is McDaniels going to be there throughout the rest of the year? They're going to have to be competitive. But I know that this Rams team is competitive when they have their people back. Seen it. We haven't seen that necessarily yet from the Dolphins this year. So with a healthy Rams team popping in, that's where I'm going, man. I'm going Rams minus 1.5.
Yeah, this was a tougher one for me to pick. And I think it was tougher for most of the bettors to pick in this one. Right now, 54% of the bets are on LA. 56% of the money is on LA. It's not a sweeping win. It's not like the popular vote and electoral vote. We're all for one team here. It's a lot closer than you would expect to see from the bettors. They're not sure which way to go in this one, so they're going to go with the favorite more likely. And I think I got to go that way as well. I'm going to follow you. Rams minus the 1.5. I'm hoping for a big game from Puka that would help me in fantasy, of course. But I wouldn't be surprised if Miami all of a sudden just kind of pops off the page in one of these games. And that's what kind of scares me. They are making a big trip all the way from Miami out to LA. Tyreek Hill on turf is scary. He can get loose against this pretty bad Rams defense. So I wouldn't be completely surprised if Miami all of a sudden opens it up on offense. But until I see that, I can't fully trust that it's going to happen. I'll go Rams, drop the 1.5.
Rams minus the 1.5. All right. So I'll go ahead and pop this up here one more time for the full slate. Everything that we got for today. So we left off, I want to say, at we agreed on foul. Was it last disagreement on Bucks Niners? That's what we'll leave off. I went Bucks plus 6.5. You went Niners minus 6.5.
I switched it after the pick.
Yeah. I was like, man, I thought we agreed, but that's where it changed. All right. I went Chargers minus 7.5. You're going Titans plus 7.5. Eagles minus 7.5 for me. You went Cowboys plus 7.5. There's those disagreements that we need in there. Cardinals plus 1.5. Both of us. Both on the Lions minus 3.5. Both on the Rams minus 1.5. That's the entire day, but we are not done with the gambling just yet. Because we've got some Lineman Lounge parlays.
Yes, sir. So little change to the graphic. We're just going to keep changing the graphic, make it a little bit more colorful here and there. But Mike, 563 odds for your parlay. Go through it with us today.
Man, listen, the Falcons are going up against a really bad team. Kirk Cousins has balled out. Will he need to do a lot? No, probably not. But Kirk has thrown a shitload of touchdown passes this year. I think he can throw 2 more today, no problem. So over 1.5 for Kirk Cousins. Kyler Murray rushing yards, 29.5. Listen, the Jets defense is pretty good. They can get pressure. Kyler Murray, I expect to continue to have a pretty decent season, pretty good week. I got the Cardinals. I know that our guy Spicy Mike popping in here, preferring that we were both still sleeping on the Cardinals. I don't blame him. But listen, I like Kyler today. 30 yards rushing. Should be pretty easy for Kyler. So over 29.5. Josh Allen, he's a dog. I expect him to be really good. I know he's missing some wide receivers. Keon Coleman's going to be out. But Josh Allen is Josh Allen. He can do it with any fucking wide receivers. Maybe we'll actually see some other people get involved in that offense who we've been clamoring for to get involved in the passing game. Josh Allen, 228 passing yards seems awfully low to be playing for a team that's going to be indoors playing in Indianapolis. So, yeah, I feel really good about this one. You get plus 563 odds for that.
All righty. And then for me, Justin Jefferson, anytime touchdown. He's going up again against like one of the worst, if not the worst, man coverage defenses in the league, and he thrives versus that man coverage. Plus, it's just kind of a team in ruin. Justin Jefferson hasn't had a touchdown in several weeks. He is absolutely due. So, anytime touchdown for Justin Jefferson, expect to see that gritty out there today. Also, for the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson, 40 plus receiving yards. Look, in his first game back, he was around like that 20, 30-yard mark and very, very limited play. I expect the passing offense to be really open today for the Vikings against this Jags team. 40 yards is a pretty low mark for TJ Hawkinson historically with the Vikings. So I think that he could easily eclipse that 40 yards. And then Cade Otton is one of the biggest receiving threats for that Bucs team. He's been one of the bigger surprises, especially in fantasy football this year, as far as tight ends go. 60 yards receiving for him, being like the number 2 receiver right now in that offense, possibly isn't a large hill for him to leap over. I think he's pretty much been consistent with that the past several weeks. So Cade Otton, 60 or more receiving yards, that gives you 638 odds. I also feel pretty confident about this. I mean, it's tough to predict those touchdowns, but anytime touchdown plays, if you're able to string a couple of those together, just anytime touchdowns, you get some pretty fucking good odds for those just because you don't know who's going to be scoring. So I actually, as a little sprinkle a little zestiness on here, I have an 8-leg anytime touchdown that I've got in right now. And so far it's going good because Tyrone Tracy got me a tud. But just for the people here at plus 14,793 odds, got a Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown, a Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown, Tyrone Tracy anytime touchdown, which he already got. So you can't put that in there if you want to bet along with me. A Bijan anytime touchdown. Aaron Jones anytime touchdown. George Kittle anytime touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown anytime touchdown. And a Kyren Williams anytime touchdown. That gives you 14,793 odds. I like all those guys' odds to score today. We'll see if it happens because that'll turn my $2 into almost $300.
Hell yeah. That'd be great, dude. That'd be awesome. I'm rooting for your boys.
Yeah, for sure. But all right, man.
Fuck, that was it.
That's it for the show today. Jumping back in that game over in Munich. Panthers are still up 17-7, but the Giants are in the red zone. It looks like they are at roughly the 12-yard line or so, possibly going to get another score here. I would love it if my boy Tyrone Tracy got another one. Don't need it for that bet, but would love it for fantasy. Yeah. All right, man.
Let's do it, man. Let's wrap this thing up. Just about an hour here. Hey, by the way, we will have a guest next week. Tease that now. We will have a fun guest from the Cleveland area. But I'll talk to you after here in a second. So that's going to be a lot of fun next week. Everybody enjoy your Sunday of football. I don't have anything to do today. I'm gonna watch all the games, but no Browns. So if you're a Browns fan, enjoy your day. Get some shit done. It's raining outside, so I'm gonna get some shit done inside the house. Thank you guys, everybody who tunes in. Whether you're here once in a while, you're here every week. Thank you guys very much. Everything that you guys do for us by showing up, watching, subscribing, talking, we're forever grateful for that. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime you spend some of it with us, we cannot thank you enough. But with that, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys very much. Happy Veterans Day tomorrow. Evo, give the people one last word.
That was going to be it, man. Thank you to everyone who has served, who is still serving. We appreciate you from a veteran's perspective. We appreciate you continuing to protect our freedoms and our democracy. So happy Veterans Day to everybody. If you have the day off tomorrow, don't get too crazy. Oh, and happy birthday to the Marines, you crayon-eating fucks.
Yeah, and producer Amber. Also happy birthday to you, baby. But with that, we're getting out of here, guys. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. See ya!